Okay, you will learn how to use the if function in Excel. And for me, that's the best function in Excel, especially because you can do some decision making. But if you can do something more sophisticated, will seem that you are a software developer, for example. And indeed, you can save a lot of money from your company or from your business that you're running just using Excel instead of buying a new software. If function we can use, for example, to bring the information from a different table according to some logics, as we can see here on this example. Here we have some data here. We have the sellers, the annual sales, and you want to bring the information from the category. Maybe you want to give a raise, you want to classify the sellers according to some parameters. That's why you can use, for example, if in this case. You cannot use VLOOKUP or a different math, because in this case, we needed to use a logic that if the sales, for example, overcome here my target, then it's going to return this category here. So if I start typing if here in Excel, open my first bracket, I can see that I have 3 fields. In those 3 fields, they have some different requirements, but the first one is my logic. Here, I can add pretty much any function from Excel. I can add equal to do a comparison. For example, if this one is equals to this one, and it's good to notice that I can use number or text here. If I am using text per se, I need to use a quotation mark. I can show you here. I can use greater, smaller. I can use both of them to show as a different, and I can use some other formulas, for example, right, if I'm dealing with text. In this case, I'm going to take my annual sale, and this one needs to be greater than my target. And remember that I need to freeze this cell because it's, if I drag down, it needs to keep this information here. If I go to the next condition from this formula, is my value that's going to return if the statement is true. So here, it's like a path you are driving. If that's true, for example, if I want you to take the pathway to solve, then it's going to return this information right here. In this case, our true statement will be platinum. I just select my cell. I also need to freeze if I want to drag down. And if it's false, in this case, I wanted to add, in this first example, I wanted to add as blank. Blank, I can add by doing 2 quotation marks. And if I hit OK, drag down my formula, I can see that only the first one match the requirement. Maybe if I change here, Tiago, now you can see that it's overcoming here the annual sales to match, it's greater than the target sales, then return platinum. I paused this video to invite you to the Excel Mastery course. Here is where I can show you how you can become a wizard in Excel, and this will transform your work-life balance, and that will make you finish your work 3 hours earlier. In this way, you can enjoy much more your life. If you want to learn more about that, click on the description below or on the first comment from this video. So, I see you on the Excel Mastery. But now, I want you to do something more complex. I want you to also retrieve the other conditions. So how can I do this? So if function is the best because I can keep add multiple ifs. Here on the logic, on the first part of the sentence, I could add and, or, any other function that may help in my logic, which is kind of harder to learn. That's why it's good to take a course or maybe to take some knowledge for someone and test a lot for sure to gain some experience on those logics. But here, one good part is that usually at the end of my if statement, I have this false. I can add another if I have another condition to match. In this case, I have if my sales, my annual sales is greater than my sales target, I also going to freeze this one. It's going to return me F3, freeze this one as well. I have again my false condition. So here it's kind of a route again. If I take the first exit, That's it. If I go straight, it's going to appear more two exits, the true or the false. Don't worry here, with time you can better understand here, but if the statement match the first one, it doesn't matter what it's going to happen after. If it's matched the second one, it doesn't matter what's going to happen on the third one. So that's why I here can add another if statement, open my bracket, compare again my annual sales. If it's greater than E4, freeze this cell, return me if it's true F4. Now I have my last false statement. And here, if you want to master if function, you need to understand only three concepts. The first one is the logic, which is kind of harsh to teach in just 10 minutes. You need to have a path to better understand how you can deal with the logics. The third one is where you're going to put each of those settings. And the last one is one that it's a trick. Right now, it's a kind of simple one, because if I add, for example, to return false here, if it doesn't match any of those, then it's going to return me blank. But then I need to close to finish, need to close all the brackets to finish all the sentence. Here's a tricky one, because I have a 3, and if you see, once I click to open my bracket, it's highlight the first one that's going to close. And if I go back and forth, it also highlights. It's kind of harder to see because it's small, but if you see on your computer, it's going to be clear for you. Also, you needed to check the color is another option to help you. In this case, I needed to have 3 brackets at the end. I hit enter, then I have my final formula. If I drag down, only the second one and this fourth one has some data here, but maybe if I change this one to 280, then it's returning me platinum. If I change here to 3,800, it returned me platinum. You have a different options to use if statement. This is one of the basic one, but if you want more knowledge and more information, how can you use if statement and other statements and functions from Excel, follow me for more.